Hello and welcome to Cody and Corbin Have a Podcast, a show where two former roommates talk about We're the Millers. As always, I'm your host, Corbin's a vocal, and joining me is my fellow co-host, Cody Webb. Maybe we could say we're brothers trying to pass through the border. I don't know if it'd be very believable or would help us at all, but
I'd buy it. I think the former roommates would play in a lot to that. Would we be the Webs or the vocals at that point?
I don't know. A couple unassuming tourists. I don't know if we could sell it. Maybe.
We could sell it. I think we're pretty good actors. If this podcast doesn't show it, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun one, dude. We're the Millers, going back to our comedy roots, which I love. I think it should be a good up.
Yeah, I saw your letterbox rating, and I know you're not as high on this one as I am, so I'm definitely excited to get into it. I've been saying I wanted one that's a little bit lower rated, so I guess you're coming in hot with that. Let's go into why.
Why so serious?
So, as always, it's just that right time on the calendar. It's nearing the end of April. A year ago, this time we did like Dazed and Confused. So, we wanted to go with We're the Millers. And it's also a great like time to do like Sudeikis content because Ted Lasso, the final season, is airing right now. I think it's pretty good up to this point. So obviously he's very popular. And then also on top of that, Will Poulter, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is coming out in a month, less than a month at this point. So he's, definitely going to be in the conversation as well. And Jennifer Aniston, star of Murder Mystery 2, which just came out a couple weeks ago. I don't know if Emma Roberts is doing anything recently.
I don't really think so, honestly. She's kind of been the one who, Jennifer Aniston too, I guess, but I feel like they haven't really worked too much. A ton after this. I mean, obviously everybody's in always random shit, but her filmography was not as good as I thought it would be, honestly.
Okay, so she is in a movie called Maybe I Do with Richard Gere and Diane Keaton.
Emma Roberts, Richard Gere
this year, released this year. It is a 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb. I don't know the exact release date, but it says 2023, so it must be
4.9 out of 10. Sounds like an absolute banger.
So yeah, they're all doing stuff. They're all working. And Nick Offerman recently in The Last of Us, Catherine Hahn, Agatha Coven of Darkness, or whatever the hell that is coming soon. I mean, people are all doing stuff, so it's topical. It's a good time to talk about it.
Yeah, I think definitely kind of just the perfect time of the year. Probably a good month to talk about it. But in general, I haven't seen Ted Lasso, so I'm off the Sudeikis train.
Well, this is where I was going to confront you right here, Cody. You say you don't have Apple TV Plus. It's $4.99. You can spare $4.99 for a month. Like, come on, Cody. You got a job. You're an adult. Like, I believe you can budget. Get $4.99. Get the Apple TV Plus. It's worth it. Watch Ted Lasso.
I pay for HBO Max.
Hey, you mean Max again? We're changing our vernacular. Yeah. We're conforming to our corporate overlords. It is now Max. But yeah, that is like you can go for an ad version of Max. Did you know that? $9.99 if you want to. There you go. Save a couple. There you go. Take your current $16 Max membership, reduce it to an ad level, and then take that $5, put it to Apple TV Plus. There you go. You can watch Ted Lasso because you would really like it, Cody.
No, I think I would, and it's something I'll definitely get around to. I think I actually do have Max with ads, so that plan wouldn't work. And also, my roommate Colton, who I let borrow my HBO Max, he actually has Apple TV Plus, but I've just been too lazy to get it from him. Yeah, I'll get around to it. And speaking of Nick Offerman, I'm deep into The Last of Us right now. So I just got to go one show at a time. I'm that kind of guy. But anywho, all the way back to why. Hey, dude, Guardians 3 is coming out in like a month, and Will Poulter is playing Adam Warlock. Like, what the hell is that about? The whole Maze Runner, eyebrow kid. He's in the MCU.
You're not a fan of his. Like I think you're a noted throughout the history of this podcast. You are a noted hater. Why don't we just continue on with the rest of our categories? And I'm sure you'll continue to flame him throughout for his eyebrows. He's a very handsome man, Cody. Don't deny it. Do you remember? So do we remember the first time I saw it? I can honestly say I don't really recall the first time I saw it. I feel like when I first watched it, I saw half of it, maybe the last half or bits and pieces, because it's one of those movies that whether it appeared in like a censored version on TV or people were playing it just like hanging out at a house, like it's just you kind of catch fragments of it at different points in your lives, especially at the age I think we grew up. But it was a genuine hit when it was released, right? Like it came out in 2013. I know I didn't see it in theaters just because it was rated R, but like a lot of people saw it. When did you first see it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. I do not have an exact date, that's for sure. I was kind of one of the guys on cable where, if a movie looked okay, yeah, I'd watch like the first hour or the second hour, especially like comedies like this. I feel like that's unbelievably easy to do. I think altogether, like full all the way through, this is probably my second or third time watching it. I think maybe I did just like randomly turn it on one night a couple years ago because I was like, I've seen parts of this, but I haven't seen all of it. And yeah, I'm kind of like I'm a comedy guy, I would say. Modern comedies like this, I don't feel like I've missed too many, if I'm being honest. I think eventually I was going to get around to it, but I think it's my third time, but that's not an official score.
I would say like front to back viewings, it's probably my third time. I do have like I had logged it in Letterbox like a year ago. So I knew I had watched at least once in full then, and I think maybe once before that as well. But I want to talk about how popular this movie was. Do you know how much money this movie made, Cody?
I actually didn't even realize it was that big of a hit, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, so it made $150 million at the domestic box office, plus another 120 worldwide for a total of $270 million on a budget of like 37 million.
Yeah,
that's huge, Cody.
that's good money for a comedy. It's probably, I mean, it probably had a good release. It was probably like a summer release or something.
Released August, I believe. Of
It's just weird because I feel like this is kind of
2013.
the downturn of modern comedies around that time.
Well, Cody, I've got some stats, I've got some facts. We're gonna get into it as we continue to go. But I just wanted to point out it was the sixth domestically, it was the 16th highest grossing movie of 2013, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Could you maybe guess even some of the titles that would be ahead of it? Think of any movies that came out in 2013?
2013. I'm trying to just think. What was it? Was Dark Knight Rises that year, or was it the year before?
Dark Knight Rises the year before, so 2012.
That was my
But
best.
okay, so
guess.
I'll give you some hints. So one trilogy MCU movie and one sequel MCU movie.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, yes.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
No.
You said a sequel?
Yeah.
Not Thor: The Dark World. That was before that.
It was Thor: The Dark World.
Was it?
$200 million. There was a Fast and Furious movie.
Oh man. No, not Fast 5. That was like 09. Probably Furious 7, right?
Fast 6. Pixar sequel.
This is every movie they make. Monsters University.
Oh yeah, you got that one. Illumination sequel.
Despicable Me 2.
Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence blockbuster sequel.
Gotta be Catching Fire, right?
Oh yeah, you're all over it.
Love that movie. Love that.
Zack Snyder's Justice League prequel.
Batman. Oh no, Man of Steel.
Man of Steel. Yeah.
Superman wasn't that late.
George Clooney, Sandra Bullock space picture.
Gravity. I've never seen that movie.
Sam Raimi directed sequel to a 1927 classic, or maybe prequel.
Sam Raimi. What, Evil Dead something?
This is a weird one. James Franco starring
127 hours now.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh Jesus. Wait, who directed that?
Sam Raimi.
No fucking chance. That guy's a terrible director.
Look it up.
I didn't realize that's who directed that. That movie's terrible. We should do that movie. That's an insane cast. Zach Braff's in that movie.
He plays the monkey. He's the voice. I saw that movie in theaters, I think.
Rachel Weisz and Michelle Williams are in it for some reason.
We're gonna keep going here. Sequel to a movie that you love, one of your favorites.
What movie do I love even has a sequel?
Your 2009 J.J. Abrams directed classic.
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness, wow. Yeah.
God,
and then
what a terrible year for movies.
Finally, a Brad Pitt zombie picture.
World War Z. A
Lord of the Rings prequel, another book.
The Hobbit
adaptation. Yeah.
An Unexpected Journey.
Smaug.
Oh, the Desolation.
Also the Croods, and then funny enough, right above We're the Millers, another Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy feature. Can you think of what that is?
The Heat.
Yeah, The Heat. That actually made $9 million more than We're the Millers. Yeah. So better movie, I guess.
That doing well too. What a good year for comedies, man. That's crazy.
Just below We're the Millers, The Great Gatsby, The Conjuring.
Wow, The Conjuring, I figured would have made a lot more money than that.
A little bit down, Grown Ups 2, Sad for You.
Yes.
For Adam Sandler. but he does make the top 20.
Hey, for grown-ups too, that's not bad. Grown-ups 1 probably would have been in the top 10.
Yeah. All right. Let's move over to our initial thoughts.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I just want to start by saying, this is a really interesting movie because it's like a classic movie. And yes, the subject matter is weed, but it is not a stoner comedy. It's not like a Pineapple Express or a Seth Rogen. Like, there's no consumption of marijuana throughout the entire run of the movie. No character even does that. It's a comedy based on like drug running, more in like the plays of like a Breaking Bad or a Narcos type feeling thing, although it's not played for thrills really at any point. It's entirely for laughs, but it's interesting to see that that's kind of the approach.
Yeah, with how much drugs is kind of in this movie. That is an interesting point that nobody really does them at any time. Some weed is thrown out onto the highway and run over for some reason.
They think it's a baby. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, but nobody actually consumes drugs. So I do agree. This is not really a stoner comedy, in my opinion. It's kind of more like a road trip, sort of like it has some family aspects, but obviously it's not a family film. But yeah, that is weird. I feel like that
R-rated family film.
It is very R-rated, to be fair. But yeah, my initial thoughts. I mean, we kind of mentioned already, but I do like the cast here. My two standouts are Nick Offerman and Katherine Hahn. I think they're definitely the bright spot of this movie. Past that, I don't really care about like the family dynamic, the relationship dynamic at all. I think that's stupid. And I also don't care about Kenny or like his weird love story either. So yeah, in general, I mean, off the top too, like I don't know. I think you like this movie a little bit more than me. I don't hate it by any means. Like it's one I'll watch again. I feel like once we get to the halfway point in the movie, I'm just like, all right, we can fast forward the rest of this crap because I feel like all the good scenes are past that. But yeah, shout out Nick Offerman and Katherine Hahn. I feel like they are kind of the saving grace this movie a little bit.
Yeah, that was gonna really be in my good, but like I think they are definitely the highlights and they completely steal the show. Those two are incredible, and it kind of just shows their range. Like I mean, they were both on Parks and Rec and interesting character, but like these two are incredible, and yeah, they're great. You talked about this kind of being the end of the comedy, and they don't really make big movie like studio comedies in the same way. In that review that I did on my Letterboxd log a year ago, I said like this is the last like decent version of a certain kind of movie. And then today I went and like researched that and like looked at like the box office stuff because I was really surprised about how much money this movie made. From this point on, there's not a single original comedy that makes more money domestically.
Wow.
From the year 2013 on. In this time, there are some movies like The Hangover Part 3, which is released in the same year as this, which made more money. And then 22 Jump Street the next year, which makes more money. But obviously, that's like a sequel of an old IP property. Yeah. I think Ted 2 maybe made more money. But again, that's like a sequel. The original Ted was a huge hit, but that's in 2012. There was movies that were kind of close. Think like some Kevin Hart movies like Ride Along, or also your Rock, Central Intelligence. But they both made less than this movie. You have Jumanji, which made more for sure, but again, that's like a sequel to an old thing, and it's got big. It's not the same thing. Like there's nothing like this. You have Vacation, also made less money, but it's still around. The only thing that you have that are like comedies are superhero movies, animated. Like there's nothing that's an original adult comedy like this. This is the last good one in my opinion. So I think that's kind of a really interesting one to talk about as the end of an era.
Yeah, that is actually crazy. It literally is pretty much the last original comedy. It's kind of
I mean, Heat made more money, so maybe we should be talking about Heat. The Heat, I guess.
True. I like that movie too, but yeah, that is insane. I mean, like I was saying, just kind of the end of an era with modern comedies in that sense. And like you're saying with modern, I mean, nowadays I feel like the MCU is kind of the general comedy for everybody, which is kind of annoying because it's just overplayed at this point in that universe too.
There have been movies, I do want to point out, there have been movies made in a similar vein to this.
Yeah.
Your Adam Sandler movies, I don't know, whatever, but they're the straight to Netflix ones, right? So you never even get to see what they would make at the box office. I don't think they would perform in the same way because we've seen a couple comedies released in the last few years and they're just not super successful. But a lot of these movies go straight to streamers at this point. That's why you have Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler making Murder Mystery too right now, right?
Dude, I think a little bit. I mean, maybe this is overarching too many themes, but I think comedy's kind of dead right now. It's just I don't know. I feel
TV
like
comedy is good. I mean, like Abbott Elementary, I love that. Like, there's good comedy out there.
yeah,
I don't know.
I guess, but I guess kind of what I mean by that more is I guess maybe this kind of version of comedy is dead.
Right, like adult art. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you give like, I don't know. There's fucking Deadpool. I don't know.
True. There's always going to be something, but I think like this a stark drop off for how many movies like this were being made from like 2000 to 2000, 15 or whatever compared to the last 5 years. I don't know. I feel like it is a lot less. Obviously, COVID plays into that and streamers play into that, but it is pretty interesting. I like the
And
statistics.
And you can look at like also again beyond just Jennifer Aniston's career. I mean, Jason Sudeikis is making TV. He's doing Ted Lasso. Will Poulter, he's moved. He's a superhero now. Like that's what he's. I mean, obviously he was in The Maze Runner too before that, but it's interesting to see. There is one movie I want to point out. Crazy Rich Asians is definitely a comedy movie, and it made $174 million domestically. I don't think it's the same thing as We're the Millers. It's not like the raunchy esque. It's
The
more of a
rom-com.
rom-com thing
Yeah.
too, but it's a great movie and it's a very funny movie, and you have to know how much of a hit that was and an absolute like impressive box office force and was incredible. So I did want to just point that out, but it's just not really the same exact thing.
Yeah, I think there's been tons of good modern rom-coms that have kind of made a lot of money like that too. Same genre. You're correct. We do need to shout that out because that is a good movie too. But yeah, I think still a little bit different altogether.
Last thing, and for my initial thoughts, I wanted to talk about Ed Helms a little bit, Cody. And just
what do you think about
first
him?
of all, the thing I noticed right off the bat when I was watching this movie, they're doing the billing, they're doing the title cards, and Ed Helms. I mean, this is peak star power. Ed Helms, he's getting an and credit. Is like that's crazy, right?
This is probably the most popular he's really ever been, right? I mean,
Well, I wanted to talk about.
what season of The Office was it?
Well, so 2013 is the year the final season of The Office is airing in May.
Yeah, yeah.
Hangover Part 3 comes out in 2013, so the end of this huge trilogy.
He's a star. Ed
Yeah.
Helms. I mean,
It's
he had
also
the-
crazy to think that all of those filmings, like really, like these movies all would have been filmed around the same time. His actions in the final seasons of The Office, it kind of reflects his character here. He's really tapping into a certain attitude. It's incredible.
It's true. Maybe crossover universe is there. It's a good possibility.
Yeah.
But as well, I mean, yeah, I don't know who else you're really gonna put as the end. Maybe a little Catherine Hahn / Nick Offerman. But I feel like they're pretty highly billed. So I don't know. Maybe you could throw
Yeah.
Walter at the end and no one would fucking care. But
It helps that Ed Helms' like role is like he basically just is answering phone calls for most of the movie. So
I mean, there's
he
literally
probably did
no-
not shoot for very many days.
There's like 10 characters, maybe
Yeah.
tops in this. So yeah, I don't know. They just don't have enough actors. Might as well stick Starboy Eddie at the end. So that's funny.
And no, and I like Ed Helms, and I don't want to like disparage him here or anything, but this really was like the peak of his career because after this he had a couple more chances to be in big movies. He was in Vacation in 2015, that not a critical success. I think it did okay money wise, and then Tag in 2018. That's another like version of the comedy, but it just didn't make as much money. But he hasn't really done a whole lot else besides that. He's been in some TV stuff, some smaller movies, but nothing huge.
I think he's in the Lorax too. So shout out.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
he's done some voice stuff. Shout out Helms. Shout out Helms.
Yeah, he's all right. I think movie wise, yeah, he definitely had a big time missed career, but he was in The Office, so props to him. He'll get I think voice work and until the day he dies. So maybe in 10 years he'll be like a good character actor or something. I can see it.
Let's move over to trailer talk.
So how was work this evening, neighbor?
I need a lap dance, table 5. Don't get too close. The guy smells like asparagus pea and he's got a hook hand.
You're not a neighbor, you're a pot dealer.
I have a smidge of marijuana down in Mexico. Bring it back here by Sunday night. I will pay you $100,000.
It was way out of my league.
You don't have a choice. What the hell's that?
I bought an orca.
I make a lot of money.
You're probably gonna get searched at the border. You could wear a disguise.
Bane from Batman, something like that.
Oh, there's no drugs in here. You've nothing to worry about.
How would you like to make 10 grand?
Drug dealing?
It's not drug dealing, it's smuggling. Me crossing the border alone? Huge red flag. But families,
Hi!
they don't get a second look. So I need you to be my wife.
Come on!
Look, I hired this dork that lives in my building and a little gutter punk. Kenny, meet your new sister.
I've always wanted a sister.
Get it off of me.
We just have to dress up like a squeaky clean all-American family. This is my son, Kenny Miller, and my lovely daughter, Casey.
Jesus.
You always say, Cody, like, oh, this trailer gives away the whole movie. God damn it, this trailer gives away the whole movie. Like, there's not a single plot point that it's really missing at all.
No, that's something I wanted to bring up off the bat immediately too. And I mean, still talking about this genre, I think that is this genre's biggest downfall is they give away every single joke in the trailer. Another movie that the trailer ruined for me way back in the day was The Campaign, which is another mid-2000s classic. And I watched that trailer, and then I watched the movie right after, and I was like, this movie was terrible. I saw literally everything funny in 2 minutes. Why did I watch this? And I kind of feel the same way here. I am glad this time it was reversed. I watched the trailer second, so it didn't ruin it entirely for me. But yeah, I don't understand. Why do you think they put all the jokes in the trailer? I don't get it.
Well, I don't know. It's like, it's not even just jokes. It's like you understand exactly what happens. I was thinking like you could make it just the first minute and then the last like 30 seconds, and it would be so much better of a trailer. Because the first minute I like the setup that it does. I think it's really effective where it's like, it explains like, okay, she's a stripper, he's a drug dealer, Will Poulter's this weird kid whose mom's gone, Emma Roberts lives on the street. They all need to come. Oh, he has to go get this weed. Like, it sets up the plot. I'm fine with that kind of trailer.
Yeah.
Because then you can still watch it and you get a couple mixed in jokes. You see Jason Sudeikis get the shit beat out. Like, you don't get it all spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
But then once they go to Mexico, like, you shouldn't show anything beyond that. Like, don't explain like how much weed they have to get, how much the fact that they're being chased by the cartel, the fact that the cops are there, the fact that he's a DEA agent, like everything is there. You literally see the DEA raiding Ed Helms' place. It's bad.
Wait, are you saying you only want to see the premise in the trailer? This is groundbreaking, Garden.
I know. But it's great. Why is the trailer I mean, that's the problem.
Really
like
long too.
It's
yeah.
2.5 minutes long. Obviously,
Really?
like a TV trailer would not be 2.5 minutes long. So
Yeah. Still, I think it's kind of ridiculous for a comedy too. A couple other things I wanted to point out. I do like the background song, which I don't think was in the movie. I think it's by The Strokes, or it's called The Strokes. One of those. I don't know. But good classic rock there.
something like that.
And then past that, they had like cricket sounds at one point. And I thought that was really weird. I think that's kind of maybe an overused trope in comedy trailers as well. Kind of just like it's like waiting for a laugh. Like it's like in the MCU movies when Daredevil's like waiting for an applause and No Way Home.
Yeah, they
Like,
cut
no
it,
one's-
but it's like that's not how the movie is. They don't actually like have that space, but
It's like a mini laugh track in a trailer. Kind of weird. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, actually, we're talking about giving away all the funny parts. It gave away the Bane impression from Sudeikis. Which, spoiler alert, it's in my good category. I think that's maybe the highlight of the film.
Well, let's move on over to the good, the bad, the ugly. Take it away.
All right, so the first thing I want to mention, Jason Sudeikis does this really good Bane impression.
Can you do an impression of Jason Sudeikis' Bane impression, Cody?
What's the line? I don't know what it is. Oh, no one can understand me. Oh, I'm Tom Hardy. It's not bad. That was better than anything I did in the Dark Knight Rises episode. But yeah, I think
if you put the face over it really helps to mime it.
That sounds better. Yeah, a little echo.
That's an actor trick.
Hey,
Jason
Bruce
Sudeikis is a pro. What can we say?
I know you're Bruce Wayne.
Jason Sudeikis is a pro. SNL, well trained.
He's all right. And but yeah, my positives off the bat, I already mentioned Nick Offerman and Catherine Hahn, so I won't hang around on them too long. There are a couple scenes that I do find humorous, so I'll share those. Bane impression was number one.
I got a list as well, so maybe we can do like a ping pong.
Okay, cool. I obviously had the Bane impression, but my second one is so when he loses all his money after he gets robbed, and Ed Helms calls him in, and the guy's bag his head. I think once he arrives with the secretary, I think some real comedy ensues. I thought that was a good scene. Him like the secretary like offering him a drink with a bag over his head. I don't know. It's kind of that dumb humor that I would only find funny, but that was a scene I wanted to point out as one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say off the bat, like that's the stuff that Sudeikis can do so well, and he's manifests that in it's that like super quick-witted, quippy, played humor, but like it's believable. It's like, wow, even though this guy seems like a loser, like he can have these moments where he's going to be extremely smart and funny, and like he can do that on Ted Lasso. It's just in a endearing way rather than like a kind of trashy way that he does it in this movie. That's funny. They're both, two sides of a coin, right? Some of mine are really small, so maybe I'll rattle a couple off. But first of all, just Kenny. That's a great name. Just the fact that his name is Kenny. That's a good bit, Cody.
Yeah,
you gotta appreciate that. Good
South
name.
Park reference.
Just the way Catherine Hahn's character says tampon. She says tampon. That's a good bit.
Southern Charm.
Yeah, that's a great one. And then he's screaming at the kids. He turns around and he goes, "This is not a vacation." And then it just cuts to them just standing there with a single bottle rocket and it shoots. And I really like that.
Yeah.
Throw it over to you.
Probably what I would say the best shot of the film, probably. That rocket shot. Great framing all around. That's all I gotta say about the camera work there. Oh yeah, my other one I wouldn't bring up too. It actually is Kenny getting bit in the balls. I mean, that's just funny. Again, kind of that dumb humor, and also like the quick cuts, like you just barely see like his balls all swollen up for like half a second, then it cuts back, and then does that like 3 times. Yeah, funny stuff. Spider bites. My last name's Webb, so I gotta think that's funny. And then my last other good I wanted to bring up, interesting enough, is it's Ed Helms. I think he's actually kind of funny in this movie. The 2 jokes in particular. With like the plastic down at the beginning, I thought that was funny, and then as well he's got an orca. Like that's so weird, and it's so big, like it's so unrealistic. I think it makes it even funnier. But I didn't hate Ed Helms in this movie. This may be his best movie performance, of all time. So wanted to shout him out and good as well.
Interesting take. I don't know if I can deny that. A couple other things that I thought were pretty funny about this and that I like when they have the baby and Jason Sudeikis is like, "Oh, his name's LeBron," and that's fine. It's not even the joke. It's when she goes, "Oh, a little French fella."
Yeah, Nick Offerman. That's a hell of a line. "Oh, a little French fella, LeBron."
What's that beautiful little baby's name?
This is our little
LeBron. His name's LeBron.
Yep.
Oh, little French fella.
It's our little LeBron.
Yeah, I was against the name at first, but the missus here's got a real soft spot for prima donnas who'll never be as good as Jordan.
Yeah, that's great. And then also just, the fact this is a movie that it has a blooper reel before the credits. That's a classic comedy move, and I appreciate it. They stuck with it, and there's actually some pretty good bloopers in there. The
Sure.
Friends theme, Cody, how do you feel about that?
That's what I was gonna bring up. I think that's definitely the best one. Sort of just like a fun moment on set with Jennifer Aniston. And I feel like in blooper reels, you don't actually see that. You just see like, oh, people messing up, but actually doing something funny like that, I thought was a cool touch.
What do you think the process, how'd they get that cleared? Do you think there was like, I guess, is this a universal? I don't know, Jennifer Aniston, she just pulled some strings. It's interesting because it's in it's in the movie. So you obviously have to.
I'm sure they just paid for it. And I don't think it's that much. Like who sings that song, Carper? Nobody knows. Like that band will take $10 for the Friends theme song and be in a movie. So yeah, I don't think it costs too much.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if
maybe NBC owns it just because.
Was it a pre-existing song? Maybe am I sounding like an idiot right now?
I think it was.
Okay.
I don't know though. Maybe it was written for the show.
I'm not a big Friends head. I won't lie to you, and I'm not a big whatever type of music that is either. I don't listen to the Friends theme on any time, actually, ever.
I think we might have some listeners who have, to be fair. So I don't know. I think you might be offending them.
My girlfriend probably has. I wouldn't deny it. Speaking of music, the "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls" TLC scene, Cody. That's a great scene. I think it's funny. You don't appreciate it, I can see, but it holds dramatic weight. And see, that's important because it sets up this moment. It's a bonding moment for the family. And really, this is really interesting because it's kind of like a character study about how, when you put people into these roles, they want to be connected. They want to feel loved. At the end of this movie, they go into witness protection together and form this, pseudo family, this real life, family can come from anywhere, Cody. I think that's important in this movie. The children want, to have parents. Will Poulter's mom left him. Emma Roberts is a runaway.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Aniston, Jason Sudeikis are, they feel like they're fuck ups and they want to have a chance to like mentor and better people. But, I think there is, an interesting point to be had there. And I think the don't go chasing waterfalls scene is reflective of that. And it's what brings him back in the end, even though they are all terrible people. It's still true.
Great point there. Couldn't agree with you more. Family can come from anywhere you want, but they're definitely not a family in this movie.
Yeah, you're right about that.
As their son. Yeah, I don't know I feel like having that song in here is pretty fun. Like it's a fun moment, but I feel like it gets ruined by Will Poulter, dude. He can't sing. He's
rapping.
Like, he's like just talking. He's not even singing. And
that's the point, though. It's supposed to be bad.
Oh, and it is bad, and I definitely got that. But I don't know. TLC, good song, Waterfalls. I'm a fan of it, but I don't know. This movie kind of ruins a little bit. So,
a couple other good things I wanted to mention.
Wow, you got a lot of good.
What'd you say?
I said you got a lot of good stuff, bro.
Hey, yeah, I like
my
this
list
movie.
ran out about 10 minutes ago.
Did you see who did the music, Cody?
I don't think I did actually. Who was it?
Ludwig Göransson, motherfucker, my boy. So I gotta give him a shout out as always. You know how it is.
Shout out Ludwig. When are you coming on, dude? This is ridiculous. How many shout outs did you give for this guy?
Shout out to Ludwig. And then finally, I know you're gonna mention him in the bad, so I wanted to end my good with Will Poulter. Wow. And I just want to generally talk about. Listen, I think he plays the character well. You may not like him, but that's kind of the point. He does what he needs to do in this movie. But did you know that in the year 2013, he won a BAFTA Rising Star Award because of this movie? What? And he beat out Dane DeHaan, George McKay, Lupita Nyong'o, and Lea Seydoux.
Interesting. For this movie?
This is all he was in 2013.
Huh. What? That doesn't make any sense. He had to be in like the Maze Runner. Or maybe it was like a cop-out. It was a cop-out award from the year before. They're like
Maze Runner came out in 2014.
Well, maybe that's what it was. They saw the trailer for Maze Runner and like, this kid's gonna be a star. We gotta give him his award. Yeah, that makes no sense. BAFTAs, you might need to disperse after that because
he beat out Lupita Nyong'o in 12 Years a Slave. He beat out George McKay, who obviously 1917 boy, he's a Brit, so they love him. He was in like 5 things according to Wikipedia in 2013. Lea Seydoux, I mean, she's in Wes Anderson stuff now, and she was in Blue is the Warmest Color and Grand Central. I mean, I don't know, man. This is strange. Like the BAFTAs notably. I mean, I understand the Dane DeHaan diss. The fact that he got nominated is a problem, but
wasn't it for Chronicle?
No, it was for Devil's Knot, Kill Your Darlings, Metallica Through the Never was what he was in 2013. So
what?
Chronicle had happened at that point.
I think
in 2012.
Yeah. Tough. Just weird all around, I would say, that list. But
you want to hear some former winners?
Yeah. Does it get worse than Will Poulter in this
2022, movie? Emma Mackey. I like that. Sex Education. She's gonna be in Barbie. 2021, Lashana Lynch. I mean, she's Woman King, and obviously, she's in Marvel stuff. I don't know who's 2020. I don't know who that is, to be honest. I don't know. Buka Bukray, Michael Ward, Letitia Wright. That's good. Daniel Kaluuya, Tom Holland, John Boyega. They were getting the Disney heads.
Nice. Will Poulter.
Tom Hardy won back in 2010. Kristen Stewart, Shia LaBeouf, 2007, and the very first winner in 2005. Our King James McAvoy. So you know what? I respect it again. They called it early. That's an early call.
The list other than eyebrows. So yeah, fair enough. BAFTAs. I think you just messed up on this one, but not great. Still not a great.
If they had given it to Lupita Nyong'o, maybe we'd be talking. But
true. I mean, how do you not? But that's their problem.
She won an Oscar that year. maybe they thought she was already a star. Maybe that's
she lost. She lost to We're the Millers. Brutal.
Oh, okay. Maybe that should be in the bad.
maybe Will Poulter was the only one to show up to the award show. They're like, he's the only one here. Like we're gonna give it to him. Like we don't care.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. We're doing great research at this point. You want to move over to bad?
Do it.
I feel like you have a lot more to say, so maybe
You
you
want me to
should
kick
start.
it off? I actually don't have a ton. I have some. We already covered some of it. First off, I think it is weird how this movie starts. It's kind of just like a compilation of like highly viewed YouTube videos. And it only goes on for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, it's really strange. I thought I saw that as well, and I was like, what? And then it's just that he's watching
Just
YouTube. Like I don't.
watching YouTube, I think. I don't even understand why it's there. I'm sure obviously some paychecks had to do with it.
There's like a call. I guess you could call it a callback at the end that they're watching the YouTube video of Kenny passing out. Like
Didn't even think about that. I guess a full circle moment, which I always do
it's
talk
not.
about how I love my first shot and last shots, but never really thought of that, to be fair. Yeah, I thought that was weird to start off the movie. Past that, kind of already said this too, but I think this movie's too long. I feel like the first like half hour to 45 minutes is pretty funny. Like it's setting up the whole premise, obviously. It's them going to Mexico, getting all the drugs, and then it's them crossing the border. That's
Okay,
like a 50,
what?
45 mark, somewhere in there.
How'd you watch this?
Apple TV Plus.
Was it the extended cut?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because the version on Amazon Prime is the extended cut, and I think it's 8 minutes longer. So maybe, Cody.
I don't think so, honestly. I think I watched the normal cut. I think it's still like 2 hours long almost. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I feel like once they come back across the border and like there's people hiding under their RV, which is not a terrible gag either. I thought that was kind of funny. After that, there's another hour of the movie, and it's literally just to get from at the border to Ed Helms' house. And for some reason, they camp out with Nick Offerman for a night, and then they go to this festival for another night. It's like
Yeah, I don't
just
know why they go to the
Ed
carnival.
Helms' house. This movie's too long for no reason. That could have been a half hour instead of an hour, and it would have been just as good.
Listen, I agree that it is a little bit long. And when I was watching it today, like I was like, okay, an hour and 15 minutes, that's fine. But then I was like, kept checking the time throughout. You're like, okay, oh, there's 30 minutes left, 20 minutes left. Okay, fine. The airport, when they go to the airport and they do like this weird like music video editing for a second, and it's like they show up and it does like a reverse and they and then it like cuts, like does 8 jump cuts and crash zooms at them, and it's like every day I'm hustling, and yeah, it's some weird song playing, and that's really bad. I don't know why that's in there.
Every day I'm hustling.
But it's not that song. It's like it's that line, but it's in a different tempo. I don't know.
I feel like for some reason, they always have to have some sort of montage scene in these comedy movies too. Maybe that's just like a running trope. But yeah, that is pretty useless. I can't really disagree with you there. Another thing I wanted to touch on too. I don't know. I feel like these 4 actors, I feel like they're not really comedic actors other than Sudeikis. And in a movie like this, I feel like that is weird. Like none of the other 3 main cast have gone on to do really.
Well, Jennifer Aniston is a comedic actor.
I was gonna say like Jennifer Aniston, sure, but she's just not in any other movies in general. Yeah, she's an Adam Sandler, one of his 50 straight to Netflix movies every 10 years. But I don't really count her as like a comedic, movie star. Will Poulter, nah, he's been doing whatever, action, Maze Runner, whatever. Emma Roberts, who knows? She's in like dramas and shit now. So I don't know. I feel like Sudeikis is really carrying the kind of comedic timing here. And I think it shows. So shout out Will Poulter. You're at the top of my list. I don't know. I think he's just kind of shit. Kind of just mid. Doesn't do anything overly funny other than get, bitten in the balls by some spiders. But yeah, I don't know. I don't hate him in general. I don't want to come off either like, yeah, it's the eyebrows kid. Yeah, he was in Maze Runner or whatever. I don't think he's a terrible actor. I think I am pretty excited for Guardians 3. But in this movie, I really do think this is his lowest low. So if you're listening, Will, I'm sorry, come on the pod, but yeah, I don't think you're great comedically, and you probably know that too. So
hey, maybe Guardians 3 is gonna prove you wrong.
True.
It might be the funniest part of the movie.
I mean, it is Guardians, so it is a comedy. I would assume he's a little bit more of a serious character, but I don't know. It's a James Gunn movie. Anybody can be anything. So
Cody, are you excited that the script for Superman is done?
Yeah, I think James Gunn knows what he's doing, Superman wise.
He's spending a lot of time on Twitter.
Yeah, that does worry me a bit. I feel like it's kind of going to his head in general, and I don't really like Guardians 2. So he's kind of like, oh, he makes really good movies sometimes, and other times he makes kind of like, oh, like he was in his own head. kind of movies. I feel like. So I don't know.
I don't
It
know. I
depends.
just don't like. I would rather just not have all this like direct communication about like, oh, here's what we're gonna do. Like, just I want to see what you do. Like I trust him, but I don't want him just to be like, oh, we're gonna set like just do it, just show us, you know?
I think he's just a social media man. Like
Yeah.
he's addicted to Twitter, and he knows he'll get likes. So he's just trying to keep the DC fans in his good graces for now, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Twitter got that man in trouble a long time ago, so you would think I don't know.
That is true. That is true. Keep receipts on that guy, that's for sure.
A couple other bad things. I hate the no regrets tattoo joke. Like I feel like that's such an old played out thing. I've seen it a million times, right? Like this isn't the origin of that. Like, come on now.
I don't know. I think it's funny just because the kid's such a goober, but you're right. Everybody uses that comedy wise. So fair enough.
Yeah. And then also just one last thing, which I think is kind of funny. Well, first of all, this movie's development began in 2002. You want to know some names that were thought of to play the character that Jason Sudeikis plays?
Oh yeah.
Steve Buscemi.
Okay, interesting.
Will Arnett.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jason Bateman.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
They were all attached at one point.
Nice.
They had a director, Peter Cataneo. I don't even really know the director of this movie. Well, the director of this movie directed Dodgeball. Fun fact for you there.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people who like did rewrites, people considered to direct, and it wasn't until finally April 2012 news came out. It's like, oh, Jennifer Aniston, Jason Sudeikis in talks, and then Emma Roberts, Ed Helms, Will Poulter, Catherine Hahn all added, and they shot it in July of 2012. This movie is set in Denver, Colorado. It all premises around the idea of like selling weed, right? Weed's legalized in the fall of 2012. So they had already started shooting. I don't know if they had like if that was really a problem, really, if they cared, but like it is kind of funny in retrospective that like when this movie came out in Denver, like weed was legal anyway. So
yeah, so drug dealers in theory would not even really be relevant. But yeah, that is funny. It's kind of outdated in its own time.
Yeah, it's like it's like a clear moment that ended. Like it could have only happened right there in July of 2012. And it is set in July, so there you go.
How about that?
Maybe around the 4th of July.
The movie that pushed it over.
This is the final DEA bust before the legalization of weed in Colorado. That moment in history. It's interesting.
Had a shit ton in this movie, but yeah, that is funny.
Let's move over to the ugly. Obviously, just like drug smuggling as an idea is probably not great. Also the funny, just the irony again of the weed being legalized. But yeah, international borders, you should probably not do that. Dangerous game to play.
Good point. Yeah, I didn't have a ton for this. I mean, it's like a raunchy comedy, so you can put whatever you want, really, I feel like. But I didn't really focus on that aspect of it. I mean, and it's not even really ugly. It's just Nick Offerman ear play. I thought that was
it was intense.
Yeah, that was just kind of out of nowhere too. But yeah, I would probably account that in ugly. I don't really want Nick Offerman up in anybody's ear, so probably pass on that.
You're missing out, I'd say. There's obviously the family makeout scene, Cody.
Yeah, kind of awkward.
Which, like, okay, it's not actually ugly because these people are not related. But obviously, the girl walks in and it's very uncomfortable. But fun fact, talking about awards again, this won Best Kiss at the MTV Awards. Ooh.
For what? Will Poulter and Jennifer Aniston?
And Emma Roberts, the three-way.
Wow.
They all won.
They all got it. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good thing.
It was a triple. There's
how
no
does this movie have so many awards?
I think they're the only winners that are a triple. Do you want to hear some other winners? Can I share?
I'm sure it's all the fucking cheesy bullshit kids movies.
2015, Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort, The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, it's a classic.
2016, Rebel Wilson, Adam Devine, Pitch Perfect 2.
Oh, I like that one.
Saucy. Oh, Ashton Sanders and Jarrell Jerome in Moonlight. That's a good one. We got some legit. Some Nick Robinson and Kiana Lonsdale, Love Simon. Noah Centineo and Lana Condor, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Chase Stokes, Madeline Klein, Outer Banks. That's a TV show. That's suspect. I guess it is just Best Kiss. Awesome. Year before this, though, Silver Linings Playbook. And then guess who won every year from 2009 to 2012?
Every year? gotta be a TV show, right?
A couple powerhouses. Both of these people have been a theme on the podcast in prior episodes, and episodes will be released after this one that we've already recorded.
Oh, Twilight?
Yes, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson won from
wow.
2009 to 2012. Best kiss every single year.
I'm Pat. Shout out to him. That's crazy.
Hey, J Law and Bradley Cooper, though, they dethroned the Kings. We're the Millers did beat out another triple: Vanessa Hudgens, James Franco, Ashley Benson, Spring Breakers, which is an awful movie, and Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams in American Hustle, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Scarlett Johansson and Don John, and Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller in The Spectacular Now. So shout out to We're the Millers. It's an award-winning film.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that wasn't the strongest year of best kisses, so I guess that makes sense. This one would be a funny one, flying under the radar. I don't hate it.
I think like both those things, even though those are like, okay, they're not serious awards at the end of the day, right? But
well,
they show how popular this movie, beyond just, yes, it was a huge hit box office wise, but it just shows like they were culturally relevant. Like MTV felt the need that like, hey, you know that award that we gave to the two biggest teen heartthrobs for 4 years? Let's give it to We're the Millers, like stuff like that. Like it shows that this movie was huge.
Yeah. I mean, box office wise, like you said, I feel like it was a massacre. So shout out MTV. They gotta stay relevant, man.
Weird scene though. Really strange scene to award at the end of the day.
Context of the movie, it's like, but yeah, agreed.
You mentioned like the people stowing away in the RV at the border. That's one thing, but like when they start to run away, they literally just start shooting them with guns, which is it's a little ugly. That's intense.
It's kind of like, oh, comedy only goes so far until it crosses over into something. So
it's also one of those things where it's like, in the context of 2013, I feel like the attitudes and the approach to something like that are even different and changed as opposed to 4 or 5 years later.
Check out Picard season 2 if you want more backstory on whatever the hell they talk about in that show. But yeah, pretty similar themes, honestly.
Also, the strip club attempts to make the women be prostitutes, which is tough. It's like it's just a strange moment where it's like, yeah, you guys have to start having sex with the customers now. That's not great.
Quick turning point. Boner Garage is on. She's on board with it.
I mean, I guess if you're fine with it,
not great. Not a great look though. Yeah.
Yeah, forcing your employees is not the best. But Jennifer, she moved on. She's went to drug smuggling, and now she's, I don't know, in the witness protection program. So shout out to her.
I guess
better life.
Might have a pension or something.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Whose line is it anyway?
Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway?
All right, Cody, I'll take it away. You guys are getting paid? Whose line is it?
I believe that would be Kenneth.
That would be the man, Kenny himself, your favorite character. Great interaction, You guys are getting paid? I feel like that's culturally significant, that goes around.
I'll take it away with my first one. And it's a doozy. So bear with me here. But yeah, give me something that says I get up every morning at 5:30 and commute for an hour and a half to some bullshit job where my jack-off boss expects me to kiss his balls all day just so I can afford to keep my ungrateful, screaming kids decked out in Dora the Explorer shit and my wife up to her fat ass in self-help videos until the day I get up the courage to put a shotgun in my mouth.
That is Jason Sudeikis' character. Mr. Miller. What's his name? I don't even know any of these characters' names.
I was gonna say, what's his character name?
David Clark.
David? Sure. White person name. But yeah, I think that is a pretty funny one.
That is a funny one. The guy in the background. You can just see the rack focus. Yeah.
Right here. This one.
Yeah.
Good line, but yeah, good scene. I like that scene actually. Forgot to shout that out earlier.
Here's another good one for you. I think Snoop Dogg would fuck this fridge.
Another good line. That was Emma Roberts' his character.
It is. Casey is her name. There you go.
Casey. Well, is that a real name or a fake name? Must be a real name.
It is.
Funny. Why did they?
I think she's Casey. I don't know.
What does it say on her license? I guess you can check that. But yeah, good line. I like that. Shout out Snoop Dogg. Yeah, roll some of his music right now.
Laid back.
Clip of the week. My second one.
I'm reacting to equestrian clip of the week. There you go.
Sure, that was a good video.
Horses. I like this. This is equestrian.
This is prancing.
They call this equestrian.
By the way, look at that horse.
Did you? Oh, the horse crip walking, cuz. You see that? On the set. That's gangsters of hey!
Last one for you from me. I don't know. He must have picked the locks. It's a tough one here.
What'd you say? I don't know. He must have picked the locks.
Yep.
I actually have no idea. Is it I'll take a wild guess. Is it the buff henchman guy?
No, it's Todd, the strip club owner.
Oh shit. Yeah, I do remember that. That's
He's
early
talking about the guy with the hook hands. Yeah, how'd we let that guy back in here?
Kind of funny too,
He must have picked the locks. Deep cut for you, Cody.
It's not a terrible opening scene in the strip club. Like the hook hands, that's kind of funny. That's not bad.
Let's kick it over to Invite Fight Night.
I dubbed thee Sir William.
All right, let's start with Invite. Cody, who do you want to invite, man?
I was thinking purely just for his name, Pablo Chacon, just because he'd have good kind of like drug stories too. I would think, but I scratched that just because I forgot about the no regrets kid.
We don't want a target on our backs either. We could be privy to some information.
It could go down very, very poorly with Pablo, I would say. But with this kid, I don't remember his name, but he's just a no regrets kid. What's his catchphrase too?
Scotty P, dude. You don't know Scotty P's name?
I messed up Scotty P's name. Well, and I believe his catchphrase is you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is different. I think vocally, just to have him in podcast form, I think would be great to kind of trap that audio for time's existence. So yeah, obvious choice on Scotty P.
In the extended cut of the film, which it's unclear whether or not you watched, he says, you know what I'm saying, 11 total times. If you were to have him on the podcast in the span of our conversation, how many times would he say it?
I'll tell you what, he doesn't have too much screen time here. So I'm going to go over under 200.
I would.
I'd probably take the under.
I'd take the under. Maybe like 180. It would be a short episode. I could say that. What do you think about that? Yeah. Maybe more than that. It's a long phrase. How many times would I cut it out of the podcast is the question.
0.
I want to invite. Well, first of all, get the whole Miller fam on. If we're gonna do one, let's do them all. Let's get their whole story. Let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Let's really get to the roots of all their problems so that they can live a happy, fulfilling life in the witness protection program, Cody.
What are you, a psychiatrist now?
Yeah, I think we can start a new offshoot show where we, kind of therapize, but we're not therapists, obviously, not certified. And then option number 2, let's just get Catherine Hahn's character on because she's just hilarious, and that would be the best content, obviously. Maybe throw Nick Offerman in for like a little cameo. He comes in, says hi, oh hey, how's it going? But mostly Catherine Hahn because she's the best part of this movie.
Even talking voices too. Yeah, she's got that great Southern accent in this film. So I back it. That'd be really fun, I think.
Yeah, Tampin, baton. She says baton weird too. Yeah,
that's the Banton.
Yeah, the Banton. Fight, Cody. Who do you want to fight?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty easy one. If you've been listening to the episode, I'm gonna deck Kenny. He's got it coming. I think just the most punchable face in Hollywood, I would say, on Will Poulter's mug, and also for a general reason of Kenny too. Like, he's an idiot. He told the muggers that Sudeikis was a drug dealer. Like, are you that stupid? So yeah, for that reason alone too, I think Kenny deserves one.
Yeah, you really have beef with that man.
I don't have beef.
If we had a larger following, maybe you could set up some sort of celebrity boxing match and get your ass whooped, and that would square things out. But sadly, we can't do that. So I think you've reached your quota on Will Poulter hate for the day. Save it for the Guardians 3 episode.
Will do. I could take him though.
I would say, Ed Helms' character, he's pretty deplorable. He's a bad dude. He's kind of an asshole. It is interesting to see that, like, allegedly he and Jason Sudeikis like went to college together. So it's like these two guys went down different paths where Ed Helms has this like giant empire of drug dealing, and Sudeikis is basically just like one of his small time drug dealer henchman dudes, which is kind of funny. But bad dude. He gets what's coming to him, I guess. I mean, he's dealing weed, whatever.
Yeah.
But he also has like an orca and a tank, so ethically just kind of not a good person beyond the drug dealing. Also, the guy that robbed him, the muggers in the beginning, those dudes are the real bad ones. Because first of all, they're just like mugging Emma Roberts and like stealing her phone. And then when Jason Sudeikis tries to help, they literally like just like hold a knife to him and take all his money out of his safe. And yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen muggers. Well, I don't know too much about mugging, I guess, but do they actually like force you back into your apartment and take all of your money and stuff? Like, I didn't know that actually happens too.
Well, I guess it's because they knew like he was there, like that was his apartment building. So it's intense. I mean,
yeah, I guess so. That's
cameras.
tough.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy at the beginning, he had some nice hair on him though, because he thought he was a girl. Remember? So
great joke.
Shout out that guy's hair. But yeah, not very funny.
To be fair, he said it was because of the bone structure, not the hair.
Good point. Not great either way.
Knight, Cody. Who do you want to knight?
This was an easy one for me. I'm going with Jason Sudeikis here. First off, just because he's got a good Bane impression, I think that's the most important thing. Commissioner Gordon. But also he smacked that big guy in the face with a wrench, which he's got some balls. So I think I just respect him so much for that he's gonna get knighted. So yeah, shout out Sudeikis.
Well, I gotta respect the big man himself, One Eye. Tough character name, but Matthew Willig. Listen, this guy, he former NFL player, big man. Obviously, he ethically as a character may not be the best. He does work for like a drug cartel in Mexico, so he's probably done some rough things potentially. Dude's got hit by an RV. He's been smacked by a wrench. He's still there helping out his man Pablo. So honestly, I would like to have him on my side.
I respect it. He did take a beating. He got ran over by a bus as well. I mean, that's gotta hurt. So I don't know. I think everything all together, pretty rough day for the guy. And yeah, I think knighthood is deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The recast.
Bond. James Bond.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Really interested to hear what you are thinking here, Cody. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, and kind of going back to my bad segment, other than Sudeikis, we don't really have any comedic actors, in my opinion, obviously. Jennifer Aniston probably is, but I'm not counting it. So I just want to replace the core three of the family minus Sudeikis. So first off, going after Jennifer Aniston, it's a tough one. I end up leaning towards Amy Poehler. I think she'd be pretty funny. I like Amy Poehler. Shout out Parks and Rec. Replacing Will Poulter, gave a couple options here. I was thinking either McLovin or Jay Baruchel. I think one of those fixed. Maybe they're a little bit too old, but I don't really care. Just write it.
McLovin's always playing Christopher Mintz-Plasse, recently engaged, according to social media, is always playing creepily younger versions of himself. So
exactly. So he'll fit right in this movie. So stick McLovin straight in. And then for Emma Roberts, I don't know. It was a tough one. I was trying to come up with younger comedic actresses. There's a slight few, I think, who would fit the role pretty well. My first one that I thought of was Abigail Breslin from Little Miss Sunshine, just specifically those years around there. I think that would be a good spot for this movie. And then past that, a young Betty White, I think, would be just somebody with absolutely electric comedic chops. And yeah, rip Betty White, but I think she would have been perfect for this role.
Don't forget Abigail Breslin and her great work in Zombieland, buddy.
True. I think Zombieland's a little overrated, if I'm being honest. But
also the 2021 hit in my heart, Matt Damon featurette Stillwater.
No, I was like, in my heart. Yeah, still, I haven't seen that, to be fair. I've heard it's good for some people. But I like Abigail Breslin. Yeah, I wasn't trying to talk shit. I love her in Little Miss Sunshine.
No, yeah.
Oscar.
She's great.
Oscar nominated? I think Oscar nominated for that role. But shout out Abigail Breslin, yeah. But I would prefer a young Betty White. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't? Take us back, Cody.
Anyways,
tough memories for some of us. Actually, I think I want to take Ed Helms out, right? Okay. He was doing enough, and The last couple seasons of The Office maybe soured things for me a bit. So I'm thinking if we wanted to change the character completely and not make it that they were like old college friends or whatever, and we did like an actual big boss that you can really hate. I was thinking maybe like a Liam Neeson circa 2012. He was searching for some money, wanting to go into the four-way of comedy. This is obviously I don't know, a couple years before Men in Black International. What's he doing in 2012? Who knows? Or you could take a Steve Martin, which I think would be really good playing this role. I think he could have a lot of fun being the villain here. So
I like that little like Looney Tunes Pink Panther vibes for Steve Martin. I like it.
Yeah, something like that. But if we wanted to keep it as like a contemporary age range, I think we could throw in like a Jason Segel. So throw in the different network TV star in the Ed Helms role. And I think he'd be really good.
Yeah, I like that. I think Bateman is a good choice as well. Pretty much anybody
Jason
Sudeikis is friends with. Yeah, that would probably work.
Yeah, I mean, the Horrible Bosses connection with Bateman would have made sense. Maybe can we get Charlie Day in as well as?
I'd love to see him in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, give him his own character. Also, if we're gonna throw Aniston out, I mean Kristen Wiig. It's kind of an obvious choice, but she would obviously kill that main role.
Yeah, I highly considered her as well. Yeah, easy choice. I'd say.
Maybe too obvious. Maybe. Yeah. All right, our rating.
Do you like me?
I know you're a little lower on this, so what do you think, Cody?
Well, I don't know. Your system, I don't know what to think.
That's true. Who knows?
I ended up settling at I feel like, I don't know. Every time I set a number, I put down 46, but I feel like that's maybe a little low.
You gave this 2.5 stars, right?
Yeah. That is true. Maybe it's a little
should be half of 69.
Do I like this movie? Do I not? I don't know at this point. I think I'm going to give it a 44 out of 69.
Okay, well, interesting. Talk about a broken scale, Cody. Let's be real. Come on now.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I think a movie's really bad, like that's like Chicken Little and stuff that we've done. Like it'll go way down. And I think I had Chicken Little at like a 20. So maybe a 10, actually. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this, like I said, this movie, like I'd watch it again.
You're top heavy.
Yeah, I don't hate this movie. So it's gonna get some points that it deserves.
I'm gonna give it a 48. That just in terms of my rating system, that's where it places. Yeah, 48. It's respectable. It's a good movie. 3.5 stars.
Yeah, 2.5. Close.
Whatever. Different strokes, different folks. Post-credit scene, Cody.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
Curious where you went with this one.
Yeah, I got a couple ideas here. First off, since I liked Ed Helms, I wanted to include him in one. And I think an interaction between him and Pablo Chacon in prison would be really great.
They're gonna like form their Sinister Six.
Yeah. It's kind of like the end of Spider-Man Homecoming with Vulture and
that never turned into anything other than a Morbius post-credit scene.
Some Scorpion guy. I don't know. Yeah, basically kind of it's similar. We see Ed Helms hanging out in his cell, and then there's a knock at the gate, and it's Pablo Chacon, and he's like, "Ooh, we're breaking out tonight. You coming?" He's like, "With you? Hell no." He's like, "We're getting the Millers." And yeah, Ed Helms.
And is that the title of the sequel? We're getting the Millers?
Yeah. It's not bad. Not bad. But yeah, that's my first idea. I kind of like, yeah, I'll throw it over to you though. So I have another one, but let's hear your post credits.
So mine's really just going to be like a joke about just a little gag at the end. And the idea is weed gets legalized. So Jason Sudeikis just kind of gets, I was thinking, I mean, you could go two routes with it. One of them could be Jason Sudeikis just kind of like gets a notification on his phone that's like weed legalized in Colorado. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, we did all this shit for all that. And then, I mean, option number two is like Ed Helms like finds it out and he's like, oh, does that mean I'm getting out of prison? And they're like, oh no, like you're still like you smuggle drugs across the border. Like that doesn't matter.
I like that. I think you could just combine those two a little bit too.
Yeah.
It'd be really good.
Somehow make it cohesive and it'd be great.
That would be easy. Just you could have them watching news at the same time or something. It'd work. Yeah, fun stuff. I did have another one that I wanted to pitch quick.
Yeah.
Basically, I was just thinking, I think this movie would be good for a spinoff. And what better franchise to spin it off with than 21 Jump Street, which was basically going out at the same time. Of course, there was the beloved Jump Street Men in Black script running around. So why not, We're the Millers crossover? basically the scene that I came up with. Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, they just like randomly break into their witness protection home and start like running around and screaming and pinning everybody down. And then yeah, they just team up at the end. So that's basically the scene.
Interesting. We'll work on it. We'll workshop it. There's something there. There's an idea.
The thing is, 21 Jump
Seed.
Street is getting a crossover. Okay, it's happening.
We're gonna make it happen. We'll make it happen. We'll find the project.
What are
I'm
you
not
gonna
sure
do?
if this is the one, but we'll get there. 6 Degrees of Dave.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
Jason Sudeikis to Dave Bautista. Cody, how do you want to connect these two fellas?
I'm doing it in 3 this week. Got to be a new record around here. Yes, Jason Sudeikis. You know he's in a lot. I feel like not really, but I took him to Horrible Bosses, for one reason and one reason only, so I could match him up with Charlie Day, who, funnily enough, when he came up at the end of the episode here, I was like, I feel like I was supposed to say something about Charlie Day, and I completely forgot. It's in the 6 Degrees of Dave. But anyways, of course, the only movie that Charlie Day is really in is the Super Mario Brothers box office hit. Love it. And of course, the star of Super Mario Brothers, Chris Patterson himself, is of course in Guardians of the Galaxy, which leads us to Dave Bautista. So I went a very obvious route. I feel like obviously using Guardians and Chris Pratt, but couldn't resist when I saw Charlie Day sitting there ready for the taking. So yeah, 6 Degrees of Dave, making it a quick one this week.
I got a quick one for you as well. Jason Sudeikis is in a movie called Kodachrome, which I have seen, with Elizabeth Olsen. And Elizabeth Olsen is in Infinity War with Dave Bautista. So there you go. It's a quickie. Kodachrome it's a Netflix movie. Here's the little Netflix synopsis. Matt, a struggling executive, finds his world turned upside down when his estranged father's nurse shows up unexpectedly in his office. Matt's father, a famed bad boy photojournalist, is facing terminal cancer, and his dying wish is for Matt to join him on a road trip from New York to Kansas to process his last rolls of Kodachrome film before the sole remaining lab closes and those captured moments are gone forever. It stars Jason Sudeikis as Matt. His father is Ed Harris, and the nurse is Elizabeth Olsen. And I really don't like the movie.
I was gonna say, it kind of sounds not terrible.
On paper, it sounds great, but I don't know. There's like Ed Harris plays like a real asshole dad. Like it's really tough stuff, and they have a terrible relationship. And yeah, I don't know. It's like the anti Ted Lasso. Everybody sucks. It's tough. Yeah.
Maybe I'd like it to be fair. But yeah, that doesn't sound terrible. Give me a little Elizabeth Olsen and Sudeikis road trip movie. That doesn't sound that bad.
And also, I'm pretty sure, a little romance between Olsen and Sudeikis.
Classic. At least it's not Olivia Wilde. So I'm here.
Check it out. Check it out. The thing is, I mean, this says it right here. Like when you Google it, it's a drama. It's not really a comedy. That's the thing. Like it's not funny. So
interesting.
Yeah. Touching, bittersweet, playful. Not what I want necessarily. But check it out on Netflix. Yeah.
Will do.
All right, I guess that recommendations.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
There you go. We'll go with it. Our first recommendation. I haven't been into a lot. I will say Ted Lasso, definitely check that out. It is a great TV show, and the last season's airing. I think it's always cool to be a part of, like a moment like that. It's easy to catch up now before it ends, so you can be a part of that. And then also really the only thing that I've watched since our last recording, movie Baby Mama. Cody, you ever seen Baby Mama?
Baby Mama, no.
Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, classic 2009 comedy.
I don't think I know what that is.
Here's the premise. Tina Fey is a successful businesswoman. She's 37 years old. She hasn't had a chance to marry anyone or settle down or have kids, but she wants to have a kid. She finds out that she can't have kids. She's going to do a sperm donor. She finds out she can't have kids. So she goes through a surrogacy program run by Sigourney Weaver. And the surrogate that she gets is Amy Poehler, who, funny enough, is the exact same age as Tina Fey in real life. So she's really not like, she's not a younger person, but she's like playing this like trashy younger version character. and she's like dating Dax Shepard, and Steve Martin is Tina Fey's boss at this weird Whole Foods like company, and they're like building a new store, and Amy Poehler is supposed to be having Tina Fey's baby, and she's her baby mama.
Never heard of it somehow, but it sounds pretty bad. What do you think about it?
It's not bad. I actually had seen it before. But yeah, it's actually, I kind of like, I mean, it's like I like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and like the scenes they have together can be pretty funny. Like there's some stuff that definitely doesn't hold up today, and there's, it's like a weird, it's a 2000s comedy, but I like those two a lot. So, and it's at their kind of at their prime of their popularity, like 2009. It's right before Parks and Rec, and 30 Rock's going on. So
I would definitely watch it. I legitimately don't know how I've ever not heard of that, but yep, like you said, prime time right there. You got any other Recs, or is that it?
The last thing I'll say, I haven't seen it yet, but we've talked about Midsummer on the podcast. There's a new movie, Beau is Afraid, coming out, I think, this weekend. I'm going to see it tomorrow, so I'll share my thoughts on what I think. It is 3 hours long. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. I'm really interested. It's got some really interesting reviews, so go check it out. Maybe.
Definitely, I back that. My Recs for this week, like you said, I mean, we pretty much have filmed pretty close to episode wise, so I don't have a ton. My first one I did check out last night is the Nathan For You season 4 series finale, which I thought was a fun episode. Kind of weird in parts, but like the Bill Gates impersonator finding his like long lost love that just turned out to she's been married for 50 years. It's kind of tough. And then Nathan has this interesting relationship going on with, I mean, she's basically an escort, I believe. That's exactly what she is. So kind of weird stuff there too. But overall, I did like Nathan For You as a series, and it's definitely something I would recommend. Past that, the only other thing that I have been watching is Psych season 1. I believe I am on the season finale now, and shenanigans is going down. The thing that I forgot a lot about season 1 too is there's so many flashbacks to Sean's childhood. It's literally like every other scene in every episode in season 1. It doesn't like keep on doing that, right? Or
it's not as heavy, but like it remains. We didn't get a very good taste in First Friday 5 of the flashbacks.
Yeah. So I feel like that has been kind of jarring this season.
It was always, the thing is, like, it's always stuck out in the first season is like it always has relevance to the case in a certain way, and like that, I don't know, they kind of stopped playing with that super heavily. But there would be flashbacks, like, I mean, like spoil things for you in later seasons, but like there's the scene when he passes a lie detector test, and it's because then you get the flashback of his dad taught him as a kid. Like there's always stuff like that.
I definitely remember it being there some, but when I was watching season 1, I was like, is this going to be in every single episode of the show? But I did just think it was mostly season 1. But anyways, that's something I would recommend. And like I said as well, I am watching The Last of Us. I'm still burning my way through that. But yeah, hopefully we'll be moving along both and Psych and The Last of Us by the next episode pretty far. So we'll definitely keep in touch on where I'm at that.
Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah. Stay capping.
Catch you on our next episode, The Lighthouse.
Ooh, Rob Pat's back, baby.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.